Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harris, and we've got a great show for you today. It's going to be your ultimate guide to effective open houses. I want to let you know that we only have you guys for a half hour a day. So this is going to be an overview of the very comprehensive plan that we include within Premier Coaching. And there's an actual enhancement to that called the Ultimate Open House Guide Blueprint that also is available through Premier Coaching as well. But this is an overview, so we're going to be giving you an understanding of really what it takes to run an effective open house. Now, why are we doing that? Julie was just telling me, and as you guys know, Julie has been, called the #1 real estate coach in the nation. And a lot of her clients are agents that are selling millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of homes per year. And one of their #1 sources for business right now, and a lot of these guys are selling lots and lots of units too, are, guess what, open houses. So Julie had the motivation to dust off this show and update it and share with you guys today. So Julie, you have any specific examples to share with them?
Well, I did sort of an impromptu survey looking at what all of our top clients, our elite one-on-one coaching clients, what they have pending. And they have a lot of things pending right now. We've talked about having a bit of a delayed spring market, and things are now selling, and they've got a lot of stuff closing in the next 60 days or so. Well, where did those leads come from? And somewhere between 30 and 40% of them, which I think is, it's always big, but that's a really big chunk of their business, is coming from either recent open houses or open houses that they did fourth quarter, where people were just delayed. They're seeing maybe what happened with the election, maybe what happened with the interest rates, and now they have decided to be motivated, and these are the most recent pending. So that's one thought, is that a lot of business is coming from opens. Opens are very well attended right now. Some areas still have a bit of a lack of inventory, so that always makes for good open houses. And the second reason is, one of the things that we do in Premier Coaching and all of our coaching programs is send you to preview, and previewing open houses is efficient because you don't have to call and set up the showings, right? So why would my super experienced top producing agents be doing this? Well, some of them are breaking into new markets. Some of them are researching competition for their own upcoming listings. So there's lots of reasons that we need to get good at open houses.
All right, let's get rolling. Well, there's another reason too. I mean, all the things you just said, but when you sell a house out of an open house, there's no referral fees, right?
That's all good, right?
That's all good. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be telling you the basic things of how to do an open house. But again, this is an overview, and really what you've got to realize what an open house truly is. You are opening up a storefront in a neighborhood, and the storefront's going to be featuring you. It's going to be featuring your expertise. It's going to be featuring, obviously, marketing, like your for sale sign and things like that. So you're going to have to wrap your mind around the fact you're not just holding a house open. You're actually opening up a little pop-up, business in the middle of a neighborhood. Now, if you think about how incredibly valuable that is, what if other businesses that are not even in real estate could do the same thing? What if, for example, that, some, Prel shampoo or some Nike tennis shoe or something like that, they were basically going to rent your house out in the middle of your neighborhood for a Saturday afternoon or whatever. And they were going to do a little pop-up store selling their whatevers. How much would they be willing to do that, to have that kind of intimate exposure inside a community? But you get that for free because you can do open houses. And here's another funny thing to think about too. I know this isn't true for all communities, but you're allowed to put a big ass sign in their front yard with your name, your picture, if you choose to, on it. So you are, again, what is the value of branding and marketing like that? Considering how targeted it truly is. So expand your thinking about this so you can really start expanding your, the number of people you can help, and obviously the revenue you make. All right, Julie, let's roll right through, and let's go with setting the stage. And this is probably, if you we always put our most impactful points first, but in this case, Julie put the most impactful point. We put our most impactful points last, but this is definitely the most impactful point, I think, because if you get this wrong, nothing's going to work. And so the first one, Julie, is choose the right property.
That's right. And the pod today, we're talking about open houses for lead generation. There's other things that we talked about them for before, but with regards to generating more leads, choose the right property. It makes a huge difference. Focus on move up homes. Why on move up homes? Because you're going to get potentially a listing lead, at least one or two. Our goal for all of our coaching clients is every open house you do should produce between 2 and 5 closable leads. Mostly listing leads, some of whom also have homes to sell. Now, if you don't have a listing yourself, no problem. You can borrow listings. You can hold open anything, any type of property in your state that you're licensed in. It could be under your brokerage, but it might not be. It doesn't have to be. So I always say to coaching clients, choose the house first and the agent second, because the house matters. Some agents don't believe in open houses because the ones they've tried have been down some twisty road through a gate. Nobody can find them. And it wasn't that interesting of a neighborhood. So they start to believe that opens don't generate any business. And then they don't do them anymore. If that's you, then you're doing it wrong. So number one is choose the right house, avoiding logistical headaches and things like that. And like a nice move up price range is usually the kind of home that gets the most traffic. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but so choosing the right house, you're just kind of touching the logistics, and that's the number one mistake that people make. So you don't want to have people to have to go through 2 security gates and have to call up all the time asking for a new code, have to do this, not easy to find parking.
Or a neighborhood that doesn't allow any signs. That's
Right.
bad.
Exactly. So go and choose wisely. And so, for example, if you are with Julie and I at eXp Realty, and you're part of our eXp Realty group, Julie and I are sponsored to eXp Realty. We're going to be able to expose you to 3,000, 3,400 agents all over the country that are part of our immediate group that you could be holding their homes open. But also, there are 90,000 agents at eXp Realty that you, chances are going to have one of them are going to have a listing that you might want to hold open, and they'd be more than happy to placate the seller, explaining that another eXp agent's going to hold the house open this weekend and whatever. And you can start using those open houses as a great funnel for you to create lots of free leads. Julie and I did personally, this is, we have taught many thousands of agents to do the same thing, but we did this exact same thing. And when we built a team and a staff, they did the same thing. Open houses, considering what an unfair advantage it is just to have your sign in the yard and for potential prospects to be able to meet you by walking into the open house, that really does give you a massive unfair advantage in the marketplace. And why are open houses so much more effective now? It's because everybody else is doing the other stuff. It's because the marketing and the branding, the direct mailing, the social media, the videoing is oversaturated. Everybody and their brother, especially now with the advent of AI, are going to create or are already creating lots and lots of content. What people long for is direct human contact with other people. They want to go to open houses to meet you, believe it or not. But you're going to have to make it so that when they're at that open house, they're having a really pleasant experience, which moves on to point number 2, which is stage the property for impact. Julie?
That's right. So make sure you walk through the property before you open the door. Stage it for impact. Declutter, deep clean, professional and or virtual staging. Showcase the functionality, showcase the lifestyle, especially if you've got some weird floor plan that nobody can figure out what that room is for. It does make a difference if it's staged and the house makes sense. You can set the mood, a little bit of music in the background, maybe some vanilla or an air ionizer if you have some kind of, pet smell or something like that. You stage it like you mean it. And I have heard observations from agents that visit other agents' open houses. This seems to be more of a problem when you are borrowing somebody else's open. It's like you're not as invested in it as if it was your own listing. So I think it's important, whether it is your listing or you're borrowing it, to stage it in such a way that you're going to have great conversations and people don't just walk in the door and then walk right out the door because it smells funky or because it's cluttered in the hallway. So that's one thing, is make sure that it shows in its best light. Even a vacant property, you can have some virtual staging, or maybe your iPad shows what this room could look like. And then the next one we've talked about a little bit, and that's signage. You want to have at least 10 directional signs. Some agents use as many as 40 directional signs on every corner, getting people off of the freeway. They see it at the traffic light. You've got to get people to your open house if you expect to convert them to buyer and seller leads. And if it is your own house, maybe your own listing, maybe you're going to sell it yourself as well.
All right, so let's talk
lots
about
of directional signs. Let me hang on just for one second.
I'm going to stay on the directional signs thing.
Sure.
Because your next point's going to, because I have your notes, is going to lead right into this, what I'm about to say.
Sure.
Is that you do a tour of homes. So for example, you can get, let's say you have a listing that's not getting a lot of showings and there's 10 other listings for sale in the same community. Get together with it doesn't matter whether they're with your same brokerage or not, get together with those other agents and do a Sunday tour of homes where everyone's house is going to be open in that particular community and work together to bring more people through. Now, if you don't want to go about it this way, and this is when you have, frankly, when you have more listings, you've worked up to being more dominant or very dominant in a particular community, you want to start doing once a month, if not every Sunday, a tour of homes. And Julie and I did Harris tour of homes. And we had a bunch of corrugated signs made that were in the shape of a house. and they said literally Harris Tour of Homes, and there were directional signs, and we put them freaking everywhere. We took this opportunity so seriously. We had a sign company that was putting signs out on the weekends for the new construction stuff. A lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. They started putting the signs out for us. So everywhere you saw a Harris Tour of Homes. And then what we do is when someone would come to the first open house, we would give them a roster or sort of a schedule of the other houses we were holding open. So let's say there were 6 houses we were going to hold open on the same exact Sunday. Sounds crazy, right? Well, not so crazy. If you're going to first of all, you can have maybe you and 2 other agents helping you out. But let's just say it's you. And how are you going to do 6 open houses on one day? Well, that's probably too much. So let's rack it back down to 3 houses. You're going to hold 3 houses open in the same community, and you give them a schedule, and it says this one's going to be open from say 10 till 11. The next one's going to be open from, say 11:30 till, you guys get the idea. And then schedule them out. And when someone shows up at your first open house, give them the schedule as to when the others are going to be open. And then in the front yard on one of those corrugated signs, you want to say how, this one open from 11 till 12:30. And the next one's going to be open from 1 till, you got to give yourself time to go there and get situated, The next one's going to be open from 1 till, and leave the signs in the front yards. And then you're going to have your directional tour of home signs going from one to the other, the other. What are we doing here? We are doing very, very high level, ultimate, just unbelievably well-targeted marketing and advertising, showing that A, you're not lazy, that you are absolutely working your butt off to get the home sold in the neighborhood. Every potential seller, which is all the neighbors, are going to see that you're doing this. You're going to establish yourself and put yourself in a higher plane, especially if they see you doing this consistently every Sunday, that you're going to be the open house king or queen. And you're going to be somebody that's going to automatically start getting opportunities to list homes from sellers who you have no social connection with, who you have no, it's because they saw your open house. And I'm going to give you guys another little advanced tip here. When you're putting signs in people's yards, I want you to always, if you're putting directional signs in people's yards, always ask permission. And just, even if it's like, even if it's on so how do I describe this? In a normal residential neighborhood, this is suburbia, right? You're going to have a sidewalk most likely. Between the sidewalk and the street curb is public, and you could put a sign there legally. It's considered an easement. This is true, I believe, in all 50 states, and you don't have to ask for permission. We want you to ask for permission anyway, because that's going to be incredibly impactful, because that seller is going to say to you, because you're going to find that you want to put your directional signs on intersections, on corners and such, because you need to get someone to know to turn right or to the left, right? Makes sense? Well, when you knock on the door and you ask that seller's permission or that owner's permission to put a directional sign in their front yard, off to the corner, which legally you don't have to, they are going to be so touched and impressed. They will literally say, I know I've said literally 3 times, but I'm having flashbacks of Julie and I having these experiences where they'll say to you, you're the only agent that's ever asked. And every Sunday, there's always directional signs in my front yard. That is a tiny little breadcrumb that's going to lead to future listing activity for you. Julie?
Yeah. And you may see in their garage all these other agent signs that they've jerked out of their lawn because they didn't even bother to ask. And by the way, I have 2 instances in the past 60 days of my own coaching clients taking listings from planting a lot of signs prior to their open house. So when you're out there, part of the reason that we want you to plant a lot of signs is to force you to actually have to talk to people, ask permission, and also ask them, who do you know in your circles who would love to move into this neighborhood? Let's choose your neighbors. Who should I be inviting to the open house? And by the way, there's good news and bad news. We expect this home to sell quickly with possibly multiple offers. That's the good news. The bad news is there's going to be buyers that want to live in this neighborhood and they're missing out. There's not enough homes to sell for the people looking. So who do you know in the neighborhood who's thinking about selling next? Don't just get out there and pound your signs. Talk to people. Okay.
All right,
so
let's go.
yes.
Number 4, Julie, is master the market. And this one is really important. You don't want to be caught flat-footed, not knowing exactly what's going on in the market. You want to know every single thing and just give yourself a cheat sheet. Now, here's going to be the tendency. Do not start giving stacks of, of notes away to anyone coming through the open house. Don't give them all the neighborhood comps. Don't give them all the, essentially a CMA for the community. Don't give them all the other houses that are also for sale. Don't do that, because then they're going to have no reason whatsoever to be in contact with you, because you've given away the information that you should have kept, because essentially it's your proprietary information. It's not proprietary in the strictest of senses, but you guys get the idea. So when they come through the house, have one piece of paper that has all the statistics and facts about the neighborhood. If they want to have it and they're insistent upon it, they can always just take a picture with their phones, right? So, but you want to keep that in your hand so you can give them the actual information. And don't let your ego be embarrassed because you had to have a crib sheet to remember all the specific statistics about the neighborhood. They're going to be much more impressed that you are prepared than if you wing it and all of a sudden they knew something that you didn't, and you are essentially caught looking like a fool for lying to them about days on the market where they happen to actually know what it was.
Right. Let me give you a quick example. One of my coaching clients just had a sale where the guy came into our open house and said, "Is this neighborhood got an HOA?" And she's like, "Yes, most of the neighborhoods around here have an HOA." "Oh, I don't want an HOA. I think they're a ripoff." And she had prepared ahead of time, adding up what it would cost if you paid for your own lawn care, your own maintenance, your own water bill. Ended up being more than what the average HOA bill was. The guy ends up buying it because he never thought about an HOA that way. That's being informed. What if there is an association, what does it cover? That type of thing. How old is the roof? All of that stuff where you're not constantly saying, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know." Okay, so on to, I think we're on number 6.
We're
right?
on point number 5.
Number 5, knowing the property inside and out. We were talking about that. Knowing about things like schools and taxes, talked about the HOA, things like that. And highlighting the positive things about the house. You should have 2 or 3 things that are awesome about that house. Maybe the backyard is stunning, and maybe the foyer wasn't that great. They're about to walk out, but you're going to go over there into the backyard and show that. Maybe that's the tipping point. So do your homework. Next one, and number 6, I want to use a coaching client in LA, Dion, because she does all of this and she has the most rockin' open houses and always converts leads off of this. And that's aggressive multi-channel marketing, not just your signs, but making sure that you've got your marketing material out there. You door knock the neighborhood prior to, you can do a neighbors only open house. You can create your own flyers using Canva. That's super easy to create. I think, doesn't EXP include Canva?
Free,
I think that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And it's the full featured version too. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with Canva.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And you get, by the way, we mentioned EXP. If you guys are looking for a broker upgrade, and you're looking, whether you're a new agent, you're a seasoned, I'm talking with a group of brokers with 400 agents later this week. Doesn't matter where you are in the real estate, career spectrum. If you're ready to make an upgrade to EXP Realty, and you're obviously most of you are going to be curious about, well, how the heck is it that EXP is growing so fast and has so for almost 20 years? Well, let's have the conversation. So if you're looking for a sponsor that's going to be very proactive in your success at EXP Realty, Julie and I are formally applying for the job of being your EXP Realty sponsor. So I want you to do one of 2 things. If you're still gathering information and you're wanting to learn more about EXP and you're wanting to learn more about what we offer on top of what EXP offers, if you choose for us to be your sponsor, scroll down below and click the link and you can go to our group's website and learn more about what we offer and why thousands of agents join Julie and I every year. Or, and this is going to be true for most of you listening, if you're ready to land the plane, maybe you've already decided you're going to join EXP Realty and you're just choosing your sponsor, and you want to have a conversation with me directly, text me directly at 512-758-0206, 512-758-0206, and let's have the conversation about why EXP, I'd say, most certainly makes sense for you. And I know some of you listening right now are brokers who are sometimes put off by the fact that Julie and I are with EXP Realty, and we talk about it on our podcast. And I want to give you guys a specific challenge. You're the ones that are going to benefit the most from being at EXP Realty. To the extent that if you actually saw the numbers and were able to, and we had a conversation, and I show you all the different ways that you could benefit personally and that you could your agents would benefit if you were over at EXP, it will be a almost impossible decision for you not to take the moving up to EXP decision, not to make that decision a firm yes. So let's have that conversation too, especially if you're a larger broker. Just text me directly at 512-758-0206. Now, like I said, we're not going to be able to get to all these notes. Julie and I have to record another podcast. So there's 3 pages of notes. Okay. We got through page 1. We got partially through page 2. The next one is what I want you guys to be reading in our notes of our newsletter. And this is promoting an effective open house. And we've got a page, 2 pages of notes for promoting the effective open house. And I got great news for you. We're going to give you these notes. So all you've got to do is go to harrisrealestatedaily.com. harrisrealestatedaily.com is our daily newsletter, and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. You get our long form notes that Julie spends a lot of time obviously creating for you every single day. So go to harrisrealestatedaily.com, opt in. It takes 2 seconds, and then just go over to your normal email address and you're off to the races. You'll start getting the newsletter. You'll get the newsletter, which includes that day's notes, which includes a lot of other information we create just for newsletter subscribers. And of course, that day's podcast. So hopefully that will be the next natural step for all of you, because guess what? It's free. So Julie, anything else you'd like to say to these guys?
Yes. Well, so we'll end on this point because they can get the notes, as you said, for free. And there are a lot of them. And it's certainly a deep dive in Premier Coaching. We talk about open houses all the time because so much business is being generated from them. We were talking about aggressive multi-channel marketing, the social media stuff, like obviously Instagram stories, Facebook, Nextdoor, WhatsApp, all of that stuff. One of our coaching clients recently took her second listing in the same neighborhood just by putting a coming soon open house ad, we'll call it, on the nextdoor.com, nextdoor.com/name of the neighborhood. She just did a coming soon, come visit me, get your cookies at my open house. And somebody responded to that and said, gosh, it's so nice to see somebody being proactive. I'm getting ready to list my house next month. Why don't you come and talk to me? So there you go. Evidence. And that didn't cost her anything.
And the open house strategies that we teach you guys in Premier Coaching, they're effective at any price range. But I have to say, they're almost always more effective with more expensive real estate. And I'm going to tell you why. This is counterintuitive, but it's interesting because it's rare to have open houses on more expensive real estate. Mostly because the listing agents don't want to do it. And sometimes they'll pass along their desire to avoid doing open houses to the seller and give the seller preconceived notions about how open houses are ineffective. But the problem is the open houses that are being held every weekend, that seller, your potential seller, they're going to those open houses and they know they're not ineffective and they know that they're missing out by you not holding open houses. That's going to work against you. So doing open houses in a market like this, especially if there's a lot of inventory, is a great, cheap way to differentiate yourself. I don't want to say don't be lazy, but don't be lazy. Do it right.
Don't sit the open house. That drives me bonkers when agents say that.
Right.
That's crazy. So they do work as long as you're following the open house system. If you're just winging it and you're showing up with one sign in the yard and you're going to be mad because nobody shows up, you're not doing it right. There is a right way to do it. Choose the right house. Some of the points that we talked about already, but they're a great lead generator. And when you do it right, look at it this way. It's one event where you get to talk to multiple people. Isn't your job to make more contacts and to convert more people? It's one of the easiest ways.
Again, if you're moving, Julie mentioned this as the first point, but if you're doing open houses in what would be a move up price range, let alone more expensive homes, what's the probability of those buyers walking through not having houses to sell themselves? Do you guys see how this is a revenue domino, that you could start having fall in your favor? So
one leads to the next, leads to the next. And if you are not generating 3 to 5 closable buyers and sellers from every open house, you need to be more systematic about it. You need to look at it and take it seriously as lead generation. And one of the most common things expireds say, I hear this from coaching clients that hunt expireds, my previous agent didn't even bother to do an open house.
Yep.
Well, easy way for you to win, promise them and execute on a really killer open house that first weekend. You probably sell the house.
And show them your open house plan that you get as part of Premier Coaching. Actually show them and explain to them how important it is. But you know what? The sellers already know that it's important. And they have already, cast aspersions in their mind about their previous listing agent or the agents that you're competing against because those other agents told the sellers that open houses are ineffective. Don't say that. It's just not true. The sellers know you're lying. So don't say that open houses aren't effective. If you're not effective at open houses, guess what? Open houses will be ineffective for you. So
that's different than open houses being ineffective.
Exactly. So follow the open house plan that we give you as part of Premier Coaching. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Hello. Thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. And remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.